All right, thank you very much, Laura and Holly. So I want to start from the Georgia perspective of this because as the quarterback in the room and the receiver was not going to get the ball today because the quarterback was getting pressured all afternoon. Georgia's defensive plan was absolutely brilliant today, and they had no shot, Alabama.
A true masterclass by Glenn Schulman. And, I mean, this front, not even with the secondary, the linebackers, everybody was always in position to make a play. And even early in that game, it started to compound. So third down wasn't great for Alabama, but truly a great job overall by this Georgia defense.
They have 3 of 14 on third downs, and that first time around is 13 of 19 on third downs. And EJ, even on the first play, there was a guy wide open.
Yep.
And quarterback-wise, the quarterback just has to know where to go with the ball right now. Every offense, every play has an answer for a blitz.
Yeah.
Now, the key is they're going to send blitzes from different places, but you got to know where the ball comes out to. Ty Simpson never looked comfortable in this game at all. The part I liked a little bit in the third quarter, they just started to take a shot down the field when they sent the blitz.
Yep.
They didn't make the play, but the plays were there to be made. Give your best playmakers a chance to make a play versus the blitz versus man-to-man coverage. This is the first time all season long we've seen the receivers of Alabama not come through for their offense and make those plays.
Yep.
But those are better decisions. Just get it out of your hands as opposed to taking sacks or throwing balls in harm's way.
This Georgia defense has been completely different since the Ole Miss game. They are a national championship level defense. They are playing that good, and they are finally SEC champions when taking on Alabama. So you look at that back-to-back for the first time in program history, outright SEC champions. Last year and this year. Last year they beat Texas. This year they get their nemesis Alabama. So Kirby Smart has his program right where he wants it, headed into the college football playoff. The committee, again. Now, listen, on a normal Saturday, they're watching multiple games. This is the only show in town during the 4 o'clock window. So this committee was looking at the 9th-ranked team in the country, watching what they were doing against Alabama in a game that ultimately ended up being a 28-7 blowout in favor of Georgia. So now the conversation I think everyone's waiting to have, because this was the first bit of the chaos we needed for a wild selection Sunday, and it's that Alabama. One, I think all of us came into Saturday believing you should not be punished for playing in a conference championship game. However, BYU beat down against Texas Tech, and in this case, the conversation piece, Alabama getting blown out against Georgia. Joey, where do you stand?
I stand the same place I stood when the game started. The teams that are playing in championship games on this weekend, in my opinion, and believe me, this doesn't have any names attached to it. It doesn't matter who the team is that's playing versus the team that's not playing. If you play on this day, I don't believe you should be penalized versus teams that are not playing on this day. So as they're sitting there and they're watching these games, you know who they're not watching play? Miami, Notre Dame, Vandy,
Ole Miss,
Texas.
Yep.
They're not watching those teams play.
Sure.
And so when you watch these games, what are you comparing that to? Because you're not seeing the teams that aren't playing. I don't change my opinion of if you play in these championship games, should you be punished? This leads to, I don't want to play. Like, say
That's
Alabama.
where we are.
Alabama literally should have said, why would we go play this game if we can only be punished? We're not going to be rewarded. We're already inside the bracket. So where's the reward versus where's the punishment?
The part that makes it tough, though, Joey, is the fact that now this is a third loss for Alabama. So technically, if they're re-racking, which is what Hunter Yurachek said they were going to do next week, re-rack and rank the top 25, well, now you're looking at a 3-loss Alabama versus a 2-loss Alabama that you now can't say is the same as Miami or Notre Dame, which are some teams that didn't play
Bama didn't play
this weekend.
Say Bama
then
didn't
Bama
play.
would have been safe. I agree. And it was Texas A&M that played.
Okay,
and therein is the argument for me.
I agree.
In
I
these
hear what you're saying.
situations,
Yeah.
you're playing an extra game that really there's no benefit to doing. If BYU were to win, they get in.
And Texas Tech
They weren't going to get in if they didn't win. Alabama was already inside the bracket. There's really no benefit for them.
Now, for you, is there a way you lose? If this game's a game-winning field goal for Georgia and it's 31-28, Georgia comes out with it, a classic SEC championship, then we're saying, okay, those are two really good football teams and they both belong in. But in this game, there was clearly a team that was superior to the other, and it wasn't even close.
And you know who they were better than also? The teams that didn't play. And so I'm comparing it to the teams that I'm seeing in the bracket already there. I am not comparing it to the teams I didn't get a chance to see play. And that's why I'm saying if you want to value this weekend, you cannot punish teams that are playing versus teams that are not playing, because now I'm not playing.
Yeah, but as athletes, we all look at those games and say, well, they got beat down, though, right? Like, Alabama did not look like the same Alabama that we've seen for the majority of this season. And then what's start going to happen is the conversation. Well, they lost to Florida State. They lost to Oklahoma. You know what I mean? Like, then the conversation
Which was already
starts
done
to happen.
before today.
Correct, correct.
But it's baked in.
That's what seeps back into the conversation, especially when you have some teams knocking on the door like Notre Dame and Miami.
Okay, so they're 9 right now, Alabama.
Yes.
Do you even think they deserve to drop? Or are you going to slot them at 9?
And that's the same thing I was saying about BYU when we start talking about BYU dropping in comparison to the Notre Dame and Miami situation, putting those teams together. Once again, the idea of dropping a team that plays for a conference championship, comparing them to 2 teams that didn't play at all.
Right.
They didn't
One
get
of them's not
in.
even in a conference.
Exactly. They didn't get in. I don't think that's the way it should be done. I'm not saying that the committee won't do that.
Right.
I'm saying if I was in the room, that's the way I would look at it.
Look,
it's tough. It's hard. It's tough.
Yeah.
And there's one more game to go, ACC championship game, where we could really have a problem on Sunday, which I think all of us that like entertainment.
Right.
We're not rooting for anybody, but
right.
All right. So there might be some suspense with Alabama, maybe Miami, maybe Notre Dame. We'll see what happens in the ACC championship. There's zero suspense when it comes to Texas Tech and the Big 12. They will be one of the top 4 seeds. They will be getting a bye. So now that we know that, where do you put their chances in this bracket of going on a run?
I like Texas Tech a lot. I think they're a really good football team out there. They're playing with a lot of confidence. And I think they needed this game to show. Because so much talk wasn't about Texas Tech because they were going to get in. The conversation was about BYU. If BYU wins, they could get in. But Texas Tech was going to be in either way. And they still came out and dominated in this game and getting themselves a first-round bye, and they'll be inside the top 4. It'll be fun to watch. Texas Tech and the way they're playing, the way their defense is playing, they held BYU to right around 200 yards. But the key is they held them to around 50, 60 rush yards. And coming in, you knew BYU had to run the football to be successful in this game, and they completely shut that down.
Yeah, the big thing, too, you see a fully loaded football team. What I mean by that is you can run the football with 2 different running backs, Jacoby Williams and also Cameron Dickey. Then also you can stop the run. You have this front 7. You got linebackers making interceptions. You got a linebacker potentially getting an invite to New York City. Jacob Rodriguez and how great he's been playing this season. Got David Bailey, one of the best sackers in the Big 12, not even just in college football. So, tell you what, they're playing with a lot of confidence, and they believe in themselves, and they know that they're a good football team.
And I would tell you, too, with Texas Tech, the offensive Baron Morton, he was hurt early on in the year. He's able to get back and get healthy. They got to be careful because backup quarterback Will Hammond, he's out for the year.
Oh, true.
He's out for the year with a torn ACL. So they've got about 3 to 4 weeks to get healthy. But for me, it's Texas Tech's defense. I think they can hang with any defense in the country.
I agree, and creating the 4 turnovers in this game was huge. Really closing the door on BYU. Like I mentioned, it was a 1-score game late in the 3rd quarter, and then it was that string of turnovers that ended it.
All right, we still got 2 championship games left to play. You've got 1 versus 2, Indiana and Ohio State. Third time in the AP poll era, the top 2 teams have met in a conference championship game. Again, this isn't for a playoff spot. Both are in. Ohio State's got the swagger. They've got the national championship. They got over the Michigan hump a week ago. They want to win the Big Ten championship now. They weren't in it last year. So, EJ, what are you looking for in this game?
Really, it's the pass offense from Ohio State, but also the pass defense from Indiana. They actually have Lewis Moore, who has the most interceptions. Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, if you can keep and limit those explosives, that's going to be huge for Indiana's defense.
The explosives are going to happen in this game because there's just too much talent for there not to be. And, Joey, I just showed you the stat a moment ago. The quarterbacks in this one featured are really, really good, and there's something at stake for them.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch both these guys. Mendoza may be the #1 pick in the NFL draft coming up, and Julian Sand, give him a couple years, he'll be right in that same position. Both guys have been amazing this season, and their teams have relied on them, especially Mendoza. They played this season, didn't have that kind of offensive firepower, so he didn't necessarily have to make those kind of plays. He's going to need all those plays tonight.
Surratt, Omar Cooper Jr., Roman Hemby. I mean, there's so much talent on the field tonight. Indiana, very much one of these teams that you're looking at, like who can hang with Ohio State? We've been waiting for that team. Well, this is it. So odds to win a Heisman Trophy, this according to DraftKings Sportsbook, Fernando Mendoza is the Fernando Mendoza the leader, Diego Pavia second, Julian Sand they're hanging out third. So guys, for the quarterbacks, this game's everything.
Yeah, well, it's huge. And look, I know Joey is a Heisman voter, so I would be curious to hear what he thinks of this. But Fernando Mendoza, if he has a big game again tonight, because Joey showed a clip in his tape, that throw that he had late in the game against Penn State, to me, that was a Heisman moment. On the road, you had to have it to get the win. If he has a big game tonight against one of the top defenses in Ohio State, that might solidify the trophy.
Here's what I'd like to see on this graphic is Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, I know.
It's the quarterback segment, fellas.
It is crazy that it's only 3 quarterbacks, and Jeremiah Love's had an
Unbelievable.
He might be
amazing
fourth,
season.
though. He might be fourth.
Yeah, but he's a distant fourth. He didn't make the graphic. When Matt put the graphic together, he looked at he looked at the numbers, and Jeremiah Love was so far in the distance, he didn't get on the graphic.
We've been plugging Love on college football final for weeks. Now, let me ask you this, and this is no slight to Julian Sayin. What's Julian Sayin's Heisman moment?
It could be tonight.
No. What is it? What is it?
No, it was
it?
last week. It was last week.
Which one?
Like Joey said, adversity against Michigan, a game that team lost the year before. You're on the road, it's snowing, it's all nasty outside, and what did he do? He stayed poised, he made some big throws, gave him some winning football chances, and he won the game.
I've got like 4 for Jeremiah Love.
And that's fine. Just not a quarterback, fellas.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
So the award, instead of the most outstanding college football player, it should be the most outstanding quarterback.